All right, let's talk New York Giants versus Detroit Lions 2024 preseason game, week 1. I know it's the battle of two teams that are going to have their backups after we just watched two energy-filled joint practices. I understand that, but there's still a game to play, and there's still people fighting for their spots on this roster that's 90 people that's going to turn into 53 somehow, some way, and that involves cuts. So with that being said, let's get into our headlines and kind of a preview of what we want to see. And I want to start out with the most important position in all of sports, or if you want to debate that, I'll go with in football, the quarterback spot. Daniel Jones said in his press conference yesterday on Monday that he wants to play in this game, and that's a coaching decision, as in that's a Brian Daboll head coach decision if Daniel Jones does indeed play in this game. I find that very interesting. I guess, though, at the same time, like, what is Daniel Jones supposed to be like? No, I'd rather not play. So I think it would definitely be a nice, solid building ground to have a live action, not just in practice, but in the game itself, coming off this ACL tear. I think the second week, I believe the Giants are playing the Texans in preseason, and that is where we'll see most of the starters and Daniel Jones playing. Alex, I want to ask you your opinion. Will Daniel Jones start in this game, do you think?
I highly doubt it, just because along with the fact that he is the starting quarterback, he was also just back from an ACL tear. I don't think they're going to risk it with him. I expect to see a heavy dose of Drew Lock and a pretty big dose of Tommy DeVito, probably a split half and half. But yeah, I don't think DJ will start. I don't think most of the starters will start, actually. Maybe a few guys, some of the rookies, and Malik Neighbors, I do think we'll see some action from him. And I guess quick transition here. I'm excited to see him and what he can do, in an actual game situation. Is he going to look as explosive? Is he going to look as quick, as agile, as big of a playmaker? And I'm excited to see that and see what he can do against probably some backup DBs. So I think it should be a nice, fun show.
Well, if anyone like Terrion Arnold or Kobe Joseph are playing, that's definitely going to be something you want to keep your eye on. Obviously, already history. 2 days later, I'm sure those three guys have not forgot about what happened, and already Terrion Arnold having that connection and history with neighbors that goes past just 2 days of joint practices of 3 years or whatever it is, 2 years of college experience versus each other. So definitely keep that in mind. I talk about who's going to win battles at certain positions. You kind of look at tight end, maybe. Where is Chris Manhertz going to play, or is he going to play? Lawrence Cager going to be out for this game, we assume. So Daniel Bellinger and Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson going to get some reps. Another rookie you want to talk about. How does he fare? Does he get a couple of catches in this game from a couple of the quarterbacks in Tommy DeVito or of Drew Lock, whoever plays with Johnson? But I'm sure he'll get some snaps as well. And then battle for cornerback too, man. Flipping back to the defense, we saw Nick McLeod come in for a bench Cordell Flott today when we're recording this on Tuesday in training camp. Does that, does the cornerback two shift in this game on Thursday? Is that affecting actual preseason? I'm going to say I don't think so, because they're trying to see action equally from all these cornerbacks. But I do just kind of want to see how that battle progresses, because, as we talked about, Alex, after number one in Deonte Banks, it's really a wide open place for a few guys to kind of float around. Although I think you like to say more, it's after cornerback two, that cornerback two being Nick McLeod, the guy who came in for that position today in practice. And I'm going to agree with you. I mean, I think, obviously, I'm not saying that after Deonte Banks, anyone can get cut. I do agree. I think Deonte Banks. I don't know about Darnay Holmes. Deonte Banks and Nick McLeod are definites for this roster. I'm saying after that part, whoever finishes that out.
I think Flott's a guarantee too, in my opinion, even though he hasn't looked great. But he's, recent draft pick, reasonably high up, decent capital spent on him. I think they're going to give him a few more chances than just cut him.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Flott does have a role on this team. Someone else who has a role on this team, because he's now our starting running back, is Devin Singletary, number 26. No, he's not Saquon out there, for any Giants fans who still haven't realized that yet. Unfortunately, Saquon is on the Eagles, but
there's a lot of training camp, Josh, who don't realize, I don't think. I don't know. You've seen a lot of those Saquon jerseys.
Well, Saquon also, I'm sure you've seen a lot of Singletary jerseys with the tape of,
The tape over
white
it.
sheet of
Yep.
paper. Yeah. And Singletary written in Sharpie. So there's that out there as well at Giants training camp. So Devin Singletary, I don't know how much he'll play in this game, but we're not really worried about him playing because we want to see who's going to make that running back 2 spot. And it's been Tyrone Tracy Jr. right now, the Giants draft pick. And I think him rotating in with the one's a very clear and specific point by the Giants saying he's our running back 2. And personally, I don't think that's going to change. That's what we expected going into training camp. At least that's what I expected it was going to be. But there's another couple shouts that you can make for a guy in Dante Miller who's really having a camp himself. Is he undrafted, Alex? I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure.
It was a
Yeah.
weird situation where he was undrafted before the draft, so it's a little bit complicated, but he was probably a 6th or 7th round caliber player.
So then the Giants signed him and they swooped him up before the draft, I think. And
yeah, there was some eligibility issues with him.
Yeah.
That was basically it. Yeah.
And he's been having a camp, so we'll see how he plays in the actual game action on Thursday. And then Eric Gray, don't forget about him, obviously used on special teams, even though I think Gunnar Olszewski really has that punt returner, kick returner spot in his back pocket. But who knows? Maybe Eric Gray, kind of swoops in there. I think it was one of the beat reporters, maybe it was Dan Duggan, tweeting out kind of who was in line. It was like 4 or 5 players for being the kick returner, punt returner. So we'll have to see between those 3 guys, Tracy, Miller, and Gray, who takes that RB2 spot. But I want to see all 3 of them, honestly, go at it on Thursday. And I have an open eye for all of them, and I want to watch how they perform. As obviously the Giants right now, their offense, you see the basis is going to be deep passes and just throwing the ball in general. You're asking a lot for a guy in Daniel Jones coming off an ACL tear who doesn't really throw the ball deep and is not used to it. Now also getting used to fast receivers, but don't forget about the running backs too, because I'm sure they'll be used in this offense, and I'd like to see that. With that being said, we already saw 2 days with these Detroit Lions. Now it's just one more to watch for, and it's actually in a game. Alex, I guess any final thoughts before we watch the Giants play a preseason game on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see, these Giants on the field for the first time this season. Excited to see a lot of these different battles. Excited to see the new kickoff. I think a lot of people aren't talking about that. So for the Giants, new kickoff, how are they going to adjust to that? We saw in the Hall of Fame game. Let's see how the Giants adjust to it as well.
Yeah, we're saying it, man. New York Giants football. Sure, it's not regular season, but it's a game, and it's on Thursday in only 2 days from when we're recording this, basically a day. It's almost midnight. So basically a day from now, we'll see the Giants in game action in 2024.